Hello there. My name's Harry, and these are my ants. I've got three colonies to show you today. Two of them are Lasius Niger, the common black garden ant, which is found all over the UK, pretty much everywhere you look. The third colony I have is Formica Fusca, which is a little bit rarer. This colony you can see now is my largest one. Last time I counted, there were about 50 workers, but it's grown quite a bit since then, so we're probably approaching the 100 mark at this point. It's almost exactly a year old, and the growth has been pretty amazing. The colony's starting to work up quite an appetite, and I'm having to feed them more regularly. You may be wondering why their nest is red, and that's because Lasius Niger can barely sense red light. So with a red lid on the formicarium, we can observe them without putting them under any stress, which is good. To them, it seems like they're completely in the dark, so they feel safe, but we can see them. Incidentally, this nest is available on AntKit UK, if any of you want to know, so link is in the description. And this is the queen herself. She's much larger than the other ants, and she lays all the eggs, which develop into larvae and then pupae, and finally the adult ants emerge. She started this colony completely by herself, but now she has an army of daughters to look after her and her babies. Because she's vital to the survival of the colony, she won't leave the nest except in very extreme circumstances. So the worker ants bring food to her. The way they do this is mainly through their social stomachs. So the rear section of an ant is called the gaster, and ants can fill this section of their body up with food to bring it back to the brood and to the queen. You might be able to see how this is expanded on some of the workers. The ants then regurgitate this food via a process called trophallaxis, which you can see a worker doing right now for the queen. It's kind of like how birds do for their chicks. Over here, there are some workers attending to what seem to be piles of dirt. I wasn't sure what these were for a long time, but now I'm pretty sure that the ants have surrounded a few of their larvae with dirt. Apparently, this helps them spin their silk cocoons, which form the pupae. It's a good idea to give your ants some dirt to work with, because they'll think of ways to use it that you wouldn't really predict. Chances are they know what they're doing better than you do. The nice thing about this formicarium as well is that you can lift off the red lid for a better look if you need to. As you can see, this does upset the ants, agitate them a little bit, as they don't like the bright light, especially in their nest, but Lasius niger are a very hardy species, and stress isn't a large risk factor for them, especially with an already established colony. I've also got this nest hooked up to an outward where I'll occasionally drop some food in, mainly arthropods and honey. For a long time, I mostly fed them spiders that I catch around the house, but recently I've switched to mealworms, which I keep separately, so that I can be sure of what they eat. You want to avoid pesticides and be wary of any parasites that might attack your colony. And this is my other Lasius niger colony. As you can see, they're still in a test tube setup. They're a lot smaller than the other one, and that's because there was a bit of an accident when they came out of hibernation. But since then, they've slowly been recovering. I've just popped a spider and a small bit of apple into their test tube, and they're starting to check it out. They don't seem too keen on the apple, but they are quite interested in the spider, and they are taking it back to the queen and the brood for consumption. These ants are going to stay in their test tube setup for a pretty long time. Ants don't tend to like having too much space. It can lead to problems with where they keep their garbage in the nest, and it can promote mold growth if you give them too large a nest. So probably up until the end of the year, they'll still be in their test tube setup. Last but certainly not least is my newest colony, Formica Fusca. I only caught this queen 2 weeks ago, so the first workers haven't arrived yet. It'll probably be another month or two. Until then, the queen won't eat. Instead, she'll use up her fat reserves and digest her wing muscles to produce a nutritious kind of soup that she'll feed to the larvae, which you can just about make out. She's carrying one, and the other is on the floor. This is one of the reasons that the queen is so much bigger than the workers because she needs to have enough reserves to feed the first few larvae. I'm quite excited about this species because they've got quite different behavior from Lasius Niger. So unlike Lasius Niger, they have pretty great eyesight, at least for ants. You may be able to make out the queen's rather large eyes. And they're also pretty shy, whereas Lasius Niger is quite an aggressive species. So I'm putting her away now so that she doesn't get too stressed out, because that could lead to her eating her brood, which would be pretty terrible. But yeah, as you can see, she's got great big eyes, which give her quite good vision. I didn't go out looking for this queen, I just happened to spot her in my garden one day and caught her with a glass. So if you're looking to get into ant keeping, make sure you keep your eyes peeled, because you never know what you'll find. And if any of you are looking to start a colony in the UK, the nuptial fights for Lasius Niger are right about now. I haven't seen any flying yet, but this queen seems to be thinking about it, and I've heard some friends in other parts of the country seeing them fly. I found a few males about on the ground as well, not sure if they should take off yet. So if you are looking to start a colony, best of luck to you, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.